Today we sat down with former Wichita State basketball player, head coach of the TBT Aftershocks, as well as head coach of Mays High, Zach Bush. We touch on the TBT championship as well as stroll down memory lane of the Wichita State Shockers. We really enjoyed this one and we hope you do the same.
Awesome. We're live. Zach, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
First off, congratulations on the TBT championship. Take me to Marcus Keene at the free throw line, knowing, damn, we're about to win $1 million.
Yeah, pretty crazy. When I say we, JR, who JR Simon coaches with us, Garrett Studs and Brett Barney, we've been doing this a while, and there was so many years where you kind of look at each other and be like, man, I think we have a really good team, but you don't want to say that too loudly, and it's hard. It's like any big tournament. It requires a little bit of luck and good fortune and all that. So to finally be in the position where you actually were going to win it, it was pretty surreal because you don't want to, at least me, I don't like letting my mind go there because the disappointment hurts so bad if I do. And we pretty much did that in, I think it was like 2022, 21 or 22. We got to the semifinals of TBT. And we were a stop and a bucket away from going to the championship. And I can remember during that run, Cleve and Hannah being like, Z, like, oh my God, Z, like we could really win this $1 million. And I had never really let my mind go there. And so I did. And just I remember how frustrated I was. And I'm sure all of the guys. So pretty surreal. And then also a little bit like, dang it, it's going to end on a free throw. I don't want to be greedy, but I would prefer like a 3 or a dunk.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah, but you'll take it.
I'll take it. Whatever it takes to get it done, I'm good with.
Exactly.
Sure. How was it in the locker room after that?
Oh, it was awesome. We had Rashard Kelly pouring shots. He had brought this bottle of tequila, and he was pouring shots. Had a ton of fans back there, like family and friends. When I say fans, family and friends that we had let come back, and poor security. It was probably a nightmare. You had just tons of people trying to go back, and we're having to like grab and be like, yes. No, sorry, buddy. We don't know you. But it was awesome. We could barely even get, the post-game thing done, but just surreal moment with the guys. Super exciting. They were all so grateful, and that's part of what made it so fun is they genuinely cared about one another. They were a really good group of people who loved being together, and you could tell there was a little bit of the next couple of days like almost like sadness. Like anybody who's been a part of a great team, when you lose at the end of the season, like, go back to high school sports, you're like, I miss the guys. Like it's 3 days out. We're used to being in the locker room together. So there was a little bit of that, which just to me spoke volumes about their character and how much they cared for each other.
Gotcha. Did any of them, how long do you guys hang around? Because I know they all have contracts playing overseas all over the world.
It always depends guy to guy. Usually we try to get them out on a flight the next day. Nike actually had to leave the game. Like he didn't even get to stay. We all went to Emerson Biggins downtown, and we had a family and friends thing there. And Nike Sabande immediately had to go to the airport and get on a flight that night. And then 2 days later, he was in Germany, which is just crazy. Wow. The rest of the guys, the majority of them got out that next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how does it start? Like as the head coach with the whole recruiting, the recruiting process. When it first starts, like what's the steps to trying to get these guys to join the team?
Yeah, there's no exact, it's not like there's a draft or anything. It's typically through relationships. We're really lucky that I think we've put together a good product, both from a fan perspective. Excuse me. People want to come watch us because there's fans there. And, that's, I won't say like rare in TBT, but more so that we have such a great crowd that it's different than a lot of others. You probably got 4 to 5 teams that are kind of in our category that put, a lot of butts in seats. But we always try to make a point that our fans are even more passionate than those ones, and that, we point at TBT record book of how many highest attended games we have. And we had all the records essentially until Kentucky and Louisville came in. And obviously those are, monster programs. So there's no shame being behind those guys, but we still own a ton of the top 15 records. So typically through relationships. Connor this year was great he was teammates with Leighton Hammonds, who was just huge for us, kind of small forward, 4-man, and started there. He just work on him, text him, and I'd be checking in like, hey, do you think we could really get Leighton? Do you think we could? And from there, sometimes it's me reaching out blindly to guys. I'd get guys' numbers through different means and kind of blindly reach out and say, I've worked my spiel down. It's pretty good. I've got a little script I go off of. But just kind of saying, hey, we would love for you to be a part of this. We think we have a good, team. We don't ask a ton of guys. We're obviously alumni based, so we start there. And I guess that's the piece I missed. You always start with your alumni core. and you try to build it from the alumni piece. And then with what you don't have, you try to add what fits. This year, unfortunately, we had 2 guys that had to back out late. Zach Brown had gotten hurt, and Zach was going to play with us.
I saw him on the concourse.
Yeah, and then Grant Sherfield was going to play, and he ended up getting a contract in China and was going to miss all of summer. And so it just unfortunately didn't work out. And there's a ton of other guys I would have loved to have had, but they just either, had other things they wanted to do for their summer, which is completely understandable with how long they're gone, or they couldn't make it work time-wise. So then we started going down the what do we need, what fits path.
How do you monitor the non-alumni talent pool? Like, you don't know a lot of these guys. You don't know even that they exist.
Yeah.
Probably
For me, I guess it's, and JR and the rest of our guys, I guess we know they exist from a basketball standpoint of through TBT, you kind of learn who likes playing in this, who doesn't. There's certain tiers and categories of guys that by the leagues they play in overseas, you can tell, like the very top league in Europe, Euro League, those guys are not going to play in this. They make, over $1 million. This is like, I don't even want to say a full step below the NBA because it's high level basketball. And so that's just not going to happen. And then from there, it's usually Euro Cup guys. And those are really difficult to get, but there's guys who will. Those guys are usually talking about, is there some upfront money guaranteed and all that? And so you got to go down that path. But you just kind of keep track of who's playing well overseas. And then sometimes you have guys on your team like Richard or Connor, Marcus, who have played with somebody or play with somebody who played with somebody, and the relationship kind of goes from there. But we always try to keep track of who's having good years. And fortunately for us, social media and the internet now is what it is, because I can't imagine in the 90s, like trying to do this, it just wouldn't be possible. Like now you're able to see who's playing where and live stats the day after a game. So that's pretty much how we kind of monitor who's having good years and who's playing where and what level.
How is it competing for a guy like Marcus Keene? Because I've seen Marcus Keene play on other teams in the TBT in previous years.
Yeah.
How was getting him?
Oh, that one was like a bombshell moment when he was in, like, oh my gosh, like, okay, we might really be for real.
We're going to win this thing.
Yeah. We've always thought we had really good teams, and obviously with our environment and crowd and the way that our guys buy into defending, all that stuff always, we feel like gives us a really good chance to, probably get to that third game. And as you play in this, obviously, like any tournament, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. So then you really need the guys who can just score the basketball. And we've always felt like we were missing. And, at times we thought we were going to get somebody, and then they couldn't, or they had to back out. And so getting him was almost like are we sure? Like, is this really going to happen? And that one was really cool. That came through Leighton. So just funny how it all works. Like, Connor got Leighton. When Leighton was all in, Leighton and I talked about some different things and some different guys. And when he mentioned Marcus, I was like, can you really make that happen? Like, wait a minute, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, that's my guy. And so I'm like, reach out. And so when he talked to him, he ended up getting back to me, a week or so later, and is like, hey, Marcus Keene said he'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, holy cow. Okay, so Keene and I set up a time to talk, and super easy conversation. Keene is a guy that loves to play basketball, and that's so much fun when you have guys like that you're not begging. It's not them like, well, what's the money talking about? Because you can understand, but it gets frustrating when you're trying to put a good team together when the primary driver is not, winning the whole thing and getting that money, but just some upfront money. And like I said, I get where they're coming from, but that was never even a conversation with Marcus Keene, and that's so cool because he's a very high-level guy. And as soon as we get on the phone, he was awesome and just talked about, like, he's like, man, why can't you guys win it? Why can't you get over the hump? And, me putting my agent jacket on, I'm like, because we've never had a guy like you that could help us get over the hump and all this, and just talked about different things and how he would fit. And, we thought he could kind of be a leader for us that we needed. And fortunately, between that and the relationships that he had with some of the guys and the respect he had for, like, Connor and Richard and McDuffie and Trey Wade, he's like, man, I'm in, let's do it. And I was like, oh my God. I had my parents and my wife, we were at my parents hanging out at the pool, and some family friends, and I went out, and I'm like, we just got Marcus Keene. And they're like, let's go. And I'd told them who he was and everything. And then I had a group chat with like Connor, Marcus, Richard, and Trey Wade, and I just text in there, Marcus Keene, green check mark. And Richard responds, no way. And how'd you do that? And because Richard and him had played together before, and he knows how special he is. So it was pretty fun being able to pull that off.
Had Keene won it before?
he had never won it before, been on, and that was part of his driver for playing was like, man, everybody knows I'm really good in this, but I've never been able to win it. Like my value, he said this to me, like my value, I'm kind of seen as somebody whose value's dropped a little bit. They think I'm an older, step slow, and I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm like, that's perfect. Like people think we're not for real. They think we can't ever, truly win this. I think it'd be a perfect marriage, and he was all in. So it was a really cool story with him.
He's just a natural scorer, man.
Yeah, just a bucket.
Yeah.
And I can remember people after the first couple games making comments, he hadn't shot the ball great, but he played really well. And at times, just to the casual eye, that's not always easy to notice. You just immediately are going to makes misses. And
sure.
Some people saying things like, why do they let him take the shots he does? Because when he gets hot, he's very, very, very capable of doing what he did.
Right. I really enjoy that tournament. I'm glad it sustained what it has.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the Elam ending. It's basketball all the way through. Mm-hmm. Normal basketball kind of seems like at the end of games, it almost turns into a different game in itself.
Yeah.
I think you guys had one against the Houston alums. That was really a sweater in the Elam ending. How do you coach that?
It's hard. Those first couple of years, you don't really know what you're doing. You try to practice it, and that was a big thing was always for us, like, let's work on it. Like, why not put 6 minutes on a game clock and say that the score's 76-76, and as soon as it gets to the under 4, we'll literally call a timeout, talk to our guys, and play it out through. So it's trying to get them comfortable. There's the balance of you don't want to get too conservative, because you've seen teams do that in this where they almost panic and you said it's like the purest form of basketball. You have to score it in the game. You can't just play keep away now. And that's what's driven me crazy, being a high school coach, like forever not having shot clock. I hated that aspect, because to me it's like it's against the spirit of the game. The spirit of the game is to score more points than the other team and to stop them from scoring. And so you literally have to do this. It's like pickup style now. Like you got to go get buckets, you got to get stops. And I love that you're never completely out of it. You don't have that time factor. If you can string together the stops, you can win. Just working on it a bunch in practice, talking to the guys, and honestly, just good fortune. We seemed to, this tournament, we had just good things happen. Like Houston, I think, started with the ball on a baseline inbounds in front of their basket, so they're trying to score on a baseline inbounds. Marcus Keene steals it to start it, and I think either tied it or took us up by 2, and just little things like that is just every bucket in it feels just massive. And so when you get little easy ones like that, it's like, such a deep breath moment.
I bet. How is it coaching guys that you're teammates with, especially during the Elam ending? Like, you've got to line up for that, probably.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's a challenge. Unique because they're not in a role. Or I guess when you go back to college, our roles were, what they were. And, in some ways it works for me, because I think they have a trust in J.R. Simon and I that we care, we have their best interest at heart. And I think they know that, I'm, doing the work to be a great coach. But then, human nature takes over, and it's your friend that you're coaching. And, that can be a challenge. But honestly, it's never been that difficult. They've always been so good to me at knowing, I had the team's best interest at heart. And I never tried to portray myself as somebody who knew more than them and was trying to be a dictator and control everything. I've always been collaborative with them, from putting the team together, like who do you guys want as players, who fits, to, offensive style of play, defensive style of play. And I think that's always been appreciated, that I didn't act like I had all the answers, because I certainly don't. There's certain things I believe in, and at the end of the day, somebody has to take that leadership role as a head coach. Like, this is what we're doing, whether, you guys agree or not. But it's always been collaborative. And so they've been great to me, and it's been fun to see them, I think, kind of gain trust in me. And, for me to kind of figure out how to take my hands off at times and let them dictate what we do a little bit.
What pushed you to go into that role?
As far as just being the coach for TBT?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be involved with it. The very first year we did it was 2019, and I remember seeing on TV this tournament, and I was like, man, I feel like that team looks like they're wearing like red and black. It's got to be like Ohio State. That name that they're using kind of sounds like something Ohio. Like, oh, yeah, all those guys are Ohio State guys. And so you do a little research, figure out what TBT is. I just put a blind tweet out like, man, if anybody's watching TBT, this is so cool. We got to get a Wichita State team. And a guy, Jake Pavorsky, who's one of the league guys for TBT, had reached out, and that year it just wasn't going to happen. It was too late in the game to try to get one. But the following year we had a couple guys who did just a phenomenal job getting TBT off the ground, and was fortunate enough to be asked to help out with it. And I had relationships with a lot of the players, so I think that helped. And then just from there going forward, I was able to step into the head coach role, and these guys just been great to me, and it's been a lot of pressure. I always told my wife, like, I don't want to make it more than what it is because I'm not coaching the NBA finals or anything, but like, man, at times, like, I feel an immense amount of pressure not to screw this up because there is so much money at stake, and I don't want to let the guys down. And so it's been tough. There's been a lot of frustration over the years when we've lost, like feeling like, gosh, like, did I screw something up? Could I have done something better? Should I have played different lineups? So to finally get it done is just incredibly gratifying.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, very cool.
That championship crowd, that was ridiculous.
Surreal.
Yeah, I was in there, and that's the biggest crowd we've had since COVID.
Yeah, hard to believe. And we always thought we were capable of something like that. And that was kind of our chatter the whole time with the guys. Was, man, if you keep winning games, like, I promise they'll show up. Like, first probably 3 rounds, the crowds weren't what we had hoped for. And you kept winning, and then when you win the Houston game like we did on an Elam Ender, it was just super exciting. I think that one, everybody kind of saw it on social media or the news. It was like, oh, man, like, maybe we do need to go watch this. And so to walk out there, that championship game, and see that, very humbling that people like care that much about something that you're doing. Because like I said, we realize this isn't the NBA Finals and this isn't the Final Four or anything, but we still, try to pride ourselves on playing good basketball and putting a good product out there. Like, we work at it, we practice. We don't just show up and roll the balls out and play pickup. So very humbling to know that people care that much, and one of those moments that you try to remember and savor. And JR and I, like, kind of walk out there together and are like, dude, this is pretty cool. Who gets to do this in the arena that you got to play in college? It's just a surreal moment. And like you said, for it to be that many fans, and since COVID being the number that it was, and it really felt like old times. It felt like turning the clock back. And
right,
we just felt spoiled. I remember in college, like, literally, like, in my mind when we go out for one of us, being like, man, I know I'm not playing and doing all these crazy things, but I'm getting to be part of this, and don't take this for granted, because this doesn't happen very often, and this is a special thing and a gift God has given you, so make sure you're grateful for it. And kind of had that feeling again, like, gosh, this is so cool. Like, God, thank you. This is fun.
Did those non-WSU guys say anything about it? Or they're like, man, this is pretty neat?
Absolutely. That's always been our draw. I think for non-alumni guys, is that the crowd is what it is, and that they're so unique in this. And so, yeah, they had chills. They'd talk about it like, that was insane. Like, I haven't played in front of a crowd like that since college. And,
right.
Guys, typically it's since I went on the road and played at this high major school. And I think somebody had said it was up there, like Nike maybe had made the comment, like, outside of Duke and a couple others, like, this was up there with environments he's played in, which was just super funny to hear.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
that's so neat.
It really is. You'd have good perspective on this. I feel like there's been a disconnect by the last 5 or so years between the program and the city.
Yeah.
I think this Aftershocks run may have merged that together again.
Yeah, we hope so. That's, all of us want the best for the program, and want fans to support it, because it's almost like cyclical. Like, the more the fans support, the more, the team feels it. They impact the game a little bit. Wins happen. There's more support financially, and it just keeps, circling. And so that's, all we've been so thankful that the university has been good to us and welcoming us back and allowing us to do this, because they very easily could have, Brad Pittman at WSU and WSU administration could have said, no, we're not hosting this here. It's too much money, too much time, whatever. But they've always welcomed us back and made us feel like this is home. And that's really special. It's nice for the guys to come back who are alums and be able to have, that home feel again and somewhere to train and work out. And so we take great pride in wanting to, bridge the gap between the fans, the program, where everything's been and where it could be. And so we all hope that. And Marcus McDuffie just had like a Hall of Fame quote after we won with Taylor Eldridge. He'd said, I just truly don't understand why any player would not want to come here. Like, this love is something that money can't buy. I'm like, gosh, like,
that's
hang that up in Koch Arena, like, for any recruit, like, that's special. And obviously the NIL stuff is what it is. Hopefully, the fans who are able to really support in that aspect will. Maybe this helps, maybe it doesn't. But
I think it does.
Yeah, I hope they do.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think it was a reminder to everybody of what this place can be, and with support. Like, who knows if we shoot the ball as well as we do in that game, if there's not 9,500 fans in there going crazy. If there's 2,000 fans and nobody in there, we may not have played as well as we did in that championship game. So they make an impact, and hopefully that reminded everybody of what this could be. And this program needs the help and support to get there. They can't just do it by themselves.
Right. It feels like there's momentum now this offseason. I've seen 2 different season ticket holders, families donate 50 tickets each to the Boys and Girls Clubs, and I think to the Veteran Affairs. That's just momentum off the Aftershocks.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that that's what it is. We would love to play any part we can in helping that program. Super kind of those families to be able to do that, and hopefully this gives it a little surge. We got to watch some of us a couple practices, and definitely felt different in the arena. Like, I've watched, I think, a practice the last 3 years since Mills has been here, and this one felt different, from the energy in the building to the type of guys they had, the work ethic of these guys. Like, it truly was a little bit different. And so this could be an exciting group. And, I think fans got to remember too, it was kind of lightning in a bottle. What we caught, going to a Final Four in an undefeated season, there's not many programs alone that do that outside of a Kentucky, Duke, Carolina, Kansas. Look at Carolina, how big of a program they are. And, they're struggling to be perennial number 1 seed every year. So I think fans have to at times take a step back and, allow this new regime to kind of get their feet under them and try to get winning basketball going. And it's not going to be overnight, and it's probably not going to be 1 seeds and Sweet 16s every year, but start small, good basketball that's winning, and being competitive and doing the right things, and give Coach Mills and his staff a chance, because I truly think they're doing the right things and trying to bring in the right guys.
Do you have a relationship with Mills?
Just a little bit. Nothing super close or deep. Just gotten to know him through this, fortunately. Just a little bit. He's been really good to us. I won't pretend like we text and chit chat or anything like that, but he's always been really welcoming. And, we've always tried to say hey, anything we can do that helps, alumni and bridge and support, we want to do that. And so he's been awesome. He's so, focused and driven and, on what they're trying to accomplish. It's really cool to see. He runs an awesome practice.
Good.
He probably looked at Marcus Keene and said, that looks a lot like Max Asmus.
Right? Yeah. Man, I could use one of those guys.
Yeah.
He honestly, he might have one in Kenyon Giles. Kenyon Giles, from us practicing against him. Yeah, KG's a beast.
That's what we had Taylor Eldridge in here, and that's what he said. We had a couple days before the TBT.
Yeah, we scrimmaged him and played him, and KG was one of those guys we all kind of were looking at each other like, dude can play. And he didn't even make a ton of shots that day, but you could just tell, and has some leadership qualities, and they just seem to fit well. And something that I'd been told from one of the assistant coaches was that this group just loves to compete. They love to play basketball, and that's taken for granted nowadays, with how much money's involved in the game, and quote unquote celebrity and just cars, all the other things. That gets lost. And so the fact that these guys do truly just love the little things and competing, sounds like it's been really refreshing for this coaching staff, because that can be really draining over the course of a season and multiple seasons where you're having to beg guys to compete and play hard in practice. And it sounds like these guys really just do it, and they love to do it on their own. So that's going to be exciting for fans.
Awesome. Well, you guys reminded Wichita of what we are, and it's a college basketball town. It really is.
Yeah.
It has been my entire life.
Yeah.
We had this dip, post-COVID dip, but we are who we are.
Time to get it back.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Right.
I wanted to pivot to your WSU days.
Yeah.
You were on some extraordinary teams.
Yeah.
So your freshman year, you went to the Final Four. So we've been season ticket holders our entire life.
Not a bad freshman year.
No.
Yeah, very good freshman year.
Not a bad freshman year.
When you get into what my route was actually going to be in the college basketball. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, that team, it had some up and downs, though. I think we lost to Evansville twice.
Yeah.
I think on senior night, too.
Yeah.
Lost to Evansville.
Yeah, we had
Crazy.
senior night, and we used to do senior night celebration before the game. Mm-hmm. And it was emotional. There was a player who had tears running down his face still because he was so emotional about it. As the ball's going up, and I can remember Coach Marshall had told that story many times, and we ended up losing that game. And from that point on, he's like, we are doing every senior thing after the game. We're not doing it before the game anymore. But yeah, we had a lull that season. How magical it ended! It wasn't this perfect fairy tale season like the next season was. It was ups and downs, and we originally, I think, were picked, I can't even remember that year. It was either like 4th or 6th. And I can remember Coach Marshall just posting kind of in the locker room. He had taped up the preseason coaches poll, like rankings of the Valley and where we were picked at and stuff. And dudes were like foaming at the mouth because we had, a whole new, you could understand why we were picked there. We had just lost Trey Murray, Garrett Stutz, Joe Ragland. Like,
great team.
Unbelievable.
DJ Kyles.
They kind of got hosed. Yeah. They got hosed against
tough seed,
getting VCU in the first round.
Yeah, so David Kyles and all these guys, Ben Smith, like wicked, like Ben Sweet Smith. 16 caliber.
Man,
team.
that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, mess around,
Great
get
player,
to an
though.
Elite Eight. Yeah, unbelievable. And you lose all them, so you can understand why they're picked where we do. But like any good coach and team, we had a chip on our shoulder, and nobody knew how good Ron was coming in. People didn't realize how good Malcolm Armstead was, and then you have the next future of the program as his backup is Fred Van Vliet, and still had Carl Hall. And the team just figured it out, incredibly tough, and won a lot of games. Had a really good non-con. I think the only non-con game we lost, we went to Tennessee, lost the game out there to a good program. And then other than that, we rolled in the non-con and then go through the Valley, playing really well. Creighton had dropped quite a few, and I think we lost the last 3 straight regular season games to kind of blow a regular season championship. We lost at home the Evansville game. We had lost, I think, on the road, Southern Illinois, and then lost at Creighton on their senior day. Dougie McBuckets, they're chanting 1 more year. Dude went for like 43. It was absurd. I'd never seen.
He was so good at Creighton.
Gosh, I'm like 19 years old and got floor seats essentially to watch Doug McDermott up close and personal. And we had, put Carl Hall on him, we put Tikel on him, put Klee on him. It didn't matter. Like, dude was so refined in his footwork. They are, Creighton's such a good program as much as a Wichita State guy. That pains you to say, but
no doubt about it.
Play great basketball. Like, Coach McDermott is literally one of the best.
He is.
My wife would just love that I'm saying this. She played at Creighton and coached at Creighton. So
basketball?
And so she loves this. But yeah, they were unbelievable, and so lost 3 straight to lose the Valley basically. So then you go into the conference tournament, get to the championship, you have the rematch. Tough game, comes down to the end, just don't have enough gas in the tank, and then kind of you always go back home. And those Valley days, we played a week before everybody else's.
Right.
So we're sitting there for an extra however many 9-10 days until selection show, and those practices were always so brutal. Like, you had no opponent. You're like, when you get into the dog days of the season, it's typically like mostly practices where you're preparing for another team. And then, we get into this section where we have nobody to play, and you call them U practices. It's a U practice. You get better. What we need to focus on. You haven't had U practices since October, early November. U practices are not fun. And so we would have those. It'd just be brutal. And we're like, can we get to Selection Sunday already? We get the pit draw, and we're all like, okay, Gonzaga's the next round. Well, one at a time. We didn't truly know how good we were. We go in, and I can remember maybe after the first media timeout, Fred running off and just being amped and being like, these dudes suck, bro. They suck. I'm telling you, like, I'm not going to say all the words he said, but he's hype. I don't know what we can say on this podcast, but
Steven Adams is on that team.
Steven Adams is on the team.
He has one NCAA tournament game.
He does. So Fred's like, these dudes fucking suck, man. Like, I'm telling you, they ain't with us. Like, they're not on our level. So he comes out, and everybody's like, we are on a different level. Like, the way we defend and our energy and our attention to detail. And man, we just cooked those dudes. Like, we were just everything was clicking that night, defensively. And I can't remember it's been over 10 years now. Like, I'm sure we didn't shoot the ball great. That's our MO. Never seemed like we shot the ball great, but just
that Gonzaga game you did.
We did. That's the flip. You get to the Gonzaga game, and this is a big moment, and
huge.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Baker hit like 1,000,000 threes.
Yeah, just played so well, man. Hit every shot. We were down. Like, we probably should not have won the game. Like, went on a huge run and just made a ton of shots, and that was, I think, everybody's eye opener. Like, oh my God, like, this could be really special. And we just upset a 1 seed.
That Gonzaga team was really good. They had Kelly Olynyk, Kevin Pangos, David Stockton. Yep. Those are all 3 really good players.
Absolutely. Had 2 good bigs inside. That was.
And Mark Few.
Literally, Mark Few. Yeah, just the teams he's had.
Right.
That was so cool. And being that, you're like prime time center of the universe college basketball. You just upset a 1 seed. So I can remember my phone. I'm not even playing, and my phone's just like blowing up. So I'm like, I can't imagine what Ron and Fred and Klee and some of these guys' phones was doing. So that was really special.
Go back before the Selection Sunday of that specific year. You guys were a 9 seed. How certain, because I can't totally remember, how certain were you that in the team that you were going to make the tournament? Because a 9 seed is, not a shoe-in.
That was one of the years I think we were pretty confident we were in. We knew we put ourselves in a little bit of a hole with how we had finished the regular season, and it always felt like that in the Valley. Like if you lost a regular season game, it was pins and needles, and just made for so much.
If you didn't win the
stress.
tournament, you were sweating.
Absolutely. I think from what I remember, we knew we were probably pretty safely in. It wasn't like other years where we were. I think it was 2016 we were the first 4 game, and we're literally thinking like, oh my God, we might not get in. I think we knew we were in. It was just a matter of how much are they going to have these losses hurt us? Are they really going to hammer us with losing these last 3, or are they going to say the Valley actually was a really good league this year? You never know. So we didn't sweat that one out as much as we did other years.
Gotcha. Yeah. Beat Gonzaga and then cruise through LaSalle.
Yep.
Yeah. Then Ohio State.
Yeah. I think after you beat Gonzaga and you see that it was LaSalle upset.
K-State. Remember K-State was in the region.
Yes. So upset both of those, and that's in everybody's eyes, even more like, oh my gosh, like this, this could be for real. Win that game, and we never took any opponent lightly. I think we always prided ourselves on respecting our opponent, and it's the NCAA tournament. Anybody can win. It's one game. It's not a best of 7. And so we took them serious and had a great game plan. I remember I think Carl Hall got off to a great start. Just had some easy, rim run and transition type things where he sat big in front of the rim. We got it to him. And then the Ohio State game was just a dogfight. Like got up early and then it was a dogfight after. Yeah. Got it big. They fought back. They had this press that was, giving us some trouble. And then dudes just made plays. Like Tikel made a huge 3 out on the wing that Fred had kicked to him. Fred had an awesome game. Really grew up that game, and just the whole tournament. It just felt like dudes answered the bell. And when you get into those NCAA tournaments, the moment is so big. Some guys do, and some guys don't. And it's not like they just fall apart, but they miss shots, and they the pressure gets to you a little bit. And it never felt like that team. The moment was never too big. Like those dudes wanted it so bad and just made every right play. And I think a big thing was we just stuck to what got us there. That was a theme of like, you don't have to do anything outrageous. Just be incredibly tough, have a great attention to detail, the little stuff. Like we're going to box out every time. We're going to be on a string defensively. Our rotations are going to be in sync. We're going to know what ball screen coverage we're in. And really just paid off.
Takale Cotton was such an awesome player.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite teammates, when I was there. Got to play with some really cool players, but Takale was just awesome, man. Such a good dude. So soft-spoken, but a guy that just always made the right play, it seemed like. And then who doesn't love a guy that dunks like that? Like his just highlight dunks. Poster dunks. Yeah, it's just huge so much dunks.
Fun. That shows you how good McDermott is. When you said he put up 40, whatever, it's like you're putting up 40 against, Takale Cotton's on you a lot of that team.
Yeah.
There's not a better defender really in college basketball at the time than Takale Cotton.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knew it too, that this dude's like a game changer defensively. And then, even Clee's an NBA player, and he wasn't always the perfect defensive player, but his athleticism, length, and Carl was a great defender. And that definitely speaks volumes about Dougie McBuckets.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. I remember, I think either they both got hurt during that Ohio State game, or one got hurt and one got into foul trouble. Carl Hall and Clanthony Early.
Yeah, I think.
And then Ohio State came roaring back.
Ohio State game, I think Clee rolled an ankle really bad or something, and kind of scared us all. He had to go back to the locker room, make sure he was all right. And Carl might have gotten poked in the eye or something. But those dudes were just so tough and made every right play. And surreal moment when that final horn blows and you all run out on the court, and it ends up on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And thankfully, my family was able to come out for it. They didn't come to the first game in Salt Lake against Pitt, and we won. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's no way we can miss this." So I think they flew out, or maybe they might have even drove. I can't remember. They might have driven from Wichita to Salt Lake. Yeah, or maybe they flew, went back, and then drove to LA. One of the two. So they were there for all of it. So that was really cool getting to share that with them.
The second 2 were in LA.
Yeah, first 2 Salt Lake. Made sure I went out where MJ hit the shot against Brian Russell. At shoot around, had to do that. We got to practice at the Jazz's practice facility, which was really cool. And then, second 2 games were out in LA for a kid who'd never been to LA. That was just absolutely sick. Getting to see Staples Center, and we had the Clippers locker room, so really cool stuff.
Nice. You got to end Aaron Craft's 6-year career, too.
We did. That I can't lie, that felt pretty good.
He was doing 6-year careers before 6-year careers were the norm.
Yeah, he was such a good player. But
he and Perry Ellis, those guys
did both
for a decade.
Yep.
Yeah, to be able to beat a program of that caliber, and
Yes.
yeah, that was super special.
Yeah. Do you recall what the message the coaching staff pregame before the Final Four against Louisville? What was that like? That
yeah,
had to be quite the moment.
Yeah, I remember it well just because they had videoed it and used it kind of as the like intro video for the next year. But it was big on like, you belong, like believe that you belong here. This is not a mistake. You are a very, very, very good basketball team. And I think that resonated with the guys. They needed to hear that before they went out, that, you know, this isn't some fluke. Like, and we're not just here to make an appearance. Like, you belong in this. Go get it done. Just it's hard now. It's been so many years, but I remember a combination of intense, probably not in everybody else, but in me, anxiousness, but also extreme belief. Like, yeah, he's right. Like, this didn't happen by fluke. Like, we're a good team. Ron's unbelievable. Clee's unbelievable. Carl Hall is a dude. Like, you know, Demetric Williams, like all these guys have put in years and years of work. Like, we belong in this moment. And so crazy when you run out and there's not a court immediate. Like, you got a mile run, it feels like, in one of those. That was the Superdome, or the Georgia Dome. And so running out that long run to the court, and you know, it's a football stadium of fans. Yeah, just really cool. And it's a blur now, but can remember early in that game getting up and thinking like, oh my gosh, we could really go to a national championship.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Clancy early having a huge dunk.
Yeah, that second
He had a
half,
huge game.
Yeah, he had a really good game. Had a couple guys that had really good performances and didn't. That was Clee, man. Clee never shied away from the moment. Just who he was as a player. Just always like the bigger the lights, it's kind of the bigger the game for him. And it was the same way the next year we played Kentucky, and he goes for 30 in that game, probably gets him drafted.
Right.
You guys saw that.
We were there for that one.
Yeah,
We were there.
They had that awesome clip of one of the Harrison twins probably a month or two ago on a podcast, and they were talking about that game and how great it was, and how like in a timeout, you know, towards the end of the second half, that Cal was like, this guy's got 30, like somebody's got to stop him, who's going to guard him? And he's like, I won't out who it was, but somebody on the team raised their hand, and he said, hell no, he's got 30 on you. I'm pretty sure that was Julius Randle. Yeah.
I didn't see that, but
Yeah.
Clancy
Clee's
really
the
had a
dude.
huge game.
You can kind of tell that Clee took it personal playing those teams, because he knew, he was like, you guys aren't better. You know,
Yeah.
you're not any better
Yes,
than I am.
you think you're better than me. None of you guys recruited me. Like,
Right.
Clee's that New York dog and ultra competitive and afraid of no one, almost a irrationally confident guy.
Right.
And, man, when you're playing as a lower seed in NCAA tournaments, that's the kind of guy, you know, you want on your team.
Mm-hmm. So. What was it like during the heyday? So, like all your 4 years, you were in the Valley the whole time.
Yeah, I was there 5 years. I redshirted.
But your whole tenure was Valley.
Yes, I was all Valley, and then next year, the year after I had left, was when they went to the American.
What was it like going on the road in the Valley when most of them didn't draw any fans, but when WSU came, that was their Super Bowl. What were some of those experiences going to Southern, going to Illinois State? What was that like going there to a packed house every night, really?
It was cool. You a little bit felt like the Beatles of like college basketball. Like you're one of the main stories and everybody's showing up. And like you said, like some of those crowds were, you know, some of those teams weren't having great seasons, but you come to town and it's a sellout. And they're getting to see, you know, a top 3 team in college basketball. Just, I keep using the word surreal, but yeah, pretty special. You never, like February, that part of college basketball is hard. Like it's the dog days. It's been a long season. You're grinding it out, trying to, you know, get the right seeding for conference tournament. And that always helped. I think it gave a little bit extra juice, and it also kind of, you know, probably ballooned your head a little bit. Like, hey, we're pretty sweet. Like, look at all these people here. But you also had a really fun chance to shut up a crowd.
Right.
I think that's what our guys loved. Like, we took pride on those teams. Like, a nickname like we had was the Road Warriors. Like, Road Warrior mentality was always written on the whiteboard. And, like, we just took so much pride in going in and suffocating an arena and it going crazy. And Baker, you're not that good. Your hair sucks. And, you know, Clampton,
pretty
really
boy.
this, that.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet, you think you're so sweet, unathletic, all this stuff. And just go in and make plays and just kind of turn and look at the crowd and watch them sit down. Like, what? That was a lot of fun. And
I bet.
You know, we certainly, even on the bench, you know, made sure everybody knew what was up. And the student section's getting to sit by those. And, you know, early in the game, they're real chirpy. And by the end of it, there wasn't a whole lot being said. So that was just a blast. You know, it makes up for having to go to places like Carbondale, Illinois, and Terre Haute, Indiana, the middle of February. No disrespect to those places, but, you know, not your typical vacation destinations.
No doubt. Do you recall I remember Dan Mullen and Greg Marshall really not getting along.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was like a coaching staff scrap?
Yeah.
What,
Oh, yeah.
What was that about?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but
just let it rip. Nobody listens anyways.
What's the phrase? When a crime it's been committed so long ago, I can't remember. The term.
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations
Yeah.
might be out on this, but I don't want to. I don't know how deep I want to get into it. But
You don't have to.
basically
No.
something
yourself
was
in
said.
trouble.
Yeah, something was said in the handshake line between a coach and another coach. Just kind of what started it. Nothing outrageous, nothing crazy. They had a coach who used to be on staff with us, Dana Ford.
That's right.
So it stems from that. Won't get too deep into it, but just something was said, and I don't think was meant. Not even said, but kind of done. And I don't think it was meant to be taken ultra seriously. We had won a crazy game. We were down 7 with like a minute left, and Jackie Carmichael had rebounded, and I think just instinctively stuck his leg out and ends up clipping Takell in the chin. And so they go to review. It becomes a flagrant. We get the ball back, free throws, all this stuff. Klee ends up hitting a jump shot kind of to win it and go through the handshake. Something happens. They have probably the worst all-time arena design where the arena's long and you both exit over opposite baselines and then you circle back to like the same hallway. So they're just down the hallway from us. And so I can't remember exactly like how it got to this point, but just basically scuffle in the tunnel back there, and some players, coaches, like punches thrown, people trying to separate, police are back there, separating. And as a scrawny freshman, 18, 19-year-old, I'm terrified. I'm like, do I go out here? Do I not go out? I don't want to be seen as a wuss. Like, I got to go protect my teammates. But nothing crazy. It didn't get, like, overly out of hand. But, scuffle between staff and players and stuff. And, coaches were just fired up after that. And it just fueled that rivalry and was really fun because they had some awesome teams. And they had a team that honestly got screwed out of being in the NCAA tournament. Our 2017 team, we beat them in the Valley Championship, and they had Paris Lee and some other Deontay Hawkins, just really good players. They should have been in the tournament, and so we essentially ended their season in the Valley tournament. So just great battles with them. But yeah, that's the backstory on that.
I wonder how Jackie Carmichael got out of Kansas because he's from Manhattan.
Yeah. Saw him actually during TBT.
How's K-State?
Yeah,
Even
he commented
KU?
on that thing and joking around in Wichita during the TBT.
Yeah, he came. So he and Connor and Leighton were on the same team in Turkey about 3 years ago. Just really good team over there that they had, high level club. And so Jackie is really close with them. Their families are all very close. So Jackie and his wife came down. I want to say he lives in Illinois, but they came in town. Maybe for one of the games, and they stayed for a couple of days and got to hang out and stuff. So that was fun getting to talk with him. He's an awesome dude. Like, everybody was so pissed, but he really is an awesome dude.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So you come out the Final Four.
Yeah.
You get a lot of the guys back.
Yep.
And then you watch Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker become one of the best backcourts of all time.
Take over. Yeah, it was cool. And, like, with it being that era, it wasn't NIL. Imagine, like, if that was an NIL era. Like, that team would not have had the story it had.
Right.
Not
so
a chance.
Yeah. But, yeah, just we knew coming into that season this is going to be a special group. Fred, I think there was a ton of confidence that, like, he's ready. And he showed it during pickup that whole offseason. We played so much pickup as a program. I think probably more than other programs. That was a big thing we did back then is we played almost every day together. Like, we loved to hoop. We'd lift, and then we'd play pickup. And I can remember in those, he just went to another level with his game. Like, after he came back from that summer off, you could tell he was just better. He'd picked something up. He'd worked on his game. His jump shot had gotten better. His handle was a little tighter physically. Body's maturing even more. And you could tell very quickly, like, he may be a sophomore, but like, this is kind of his team. Like, he's the captain. And so that was super just special to watch from up close, him and Ron become who they were. And then other guys adding, Evan Wessel becoming a really, helpful piece on that team, and Darius Carter, and we bring Darius in after that run, and he becomes, we kind of had we called it the three-headed monster that year with CJ LaFille, Kadeem Colby, and him. And Kadeem had to sit out the year before, so getting to see Kadeem actually get to play, and he was physical freak, touch the top of the backboard type of guy. We knew going in, like, we're reloaded. Like, teams they thought we were good last year, like, this team's even better. So
That Final Four year, Fred didn't start, but did you guys internally know, yeah, he's going to be this dude?
Yeah, absolutely. Just, he was wise, always beyond his years. He was mature. His approach to everything, like, typically it takes freshmen a while. Like, even the really good ones. It takes you a second to understand the work ethic and to physically be able to handle taxing practices against guys who are 3, 4, 5 years. Like Malcolm was a 5th-year guy, and Carl was older. Like these guys are 5 years older than Fred and I. And everybody, I think, always knew just how he approached the game and how he practiced, that he was going to be really good once he kind of got it all figured out. There was never a doubt, and sometimes there is with guys, of how good are they truly going to be. Like you knew he was going to be fine. He's like I've said before, like that was Neo from the Matrix. Like he's the one. He was going to make it. And it's funny because I can remember our very first practice, our first official college practice in like October. We got done with it, and I raced back over to the west side to catch a movie with some of my buddies. And I remember Fred had put out a tweet, and we had a really tough first practice, like brutal, just long 3-hour grinded out. And I can remember Fred, like after in practice, just like looking exhausted. And he had put out a tweet that night that said, "This college basketball shit ain't for everybody." And we all thought he meant that as like, there's a lot of people out here who couldn't handle this, but I'm built for it. And like years later, he had said, like, I was talking about me, like in that practice. I was talking about me, Fred VanVleet. Like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, this is crazy. But super cool to get to have a front row seat to see what he became. There's never a doubt. Just, he was a dude.
Such a great
What
player.
about Ron?
Ron was similar in that they both, like, people would ask me all the time, you know, because Coach Marshall's such an intense coach. They would ask, does he like yell at Fred and Tikel and Ron and Klee? And I'm like, well, like as far as Fred, Ron, and Tikel, and like Klee was so talented, but like, you know, Klee would mess up things, but like those three, I would be like, what do you want him to yell to him about? Like they don't make mistakes, they don't screw up, they don't have the mental mistakes. Like Coach asked you to play a really tough style of basketball, and like there wasn't a lot of room for error defensively. We ran a ton of stuff on offense, and you had to be very sharp for it to work. You know, the timing, the space, the pace of it, everything had to be sharp. And a lot of guys can be lackadaisical at times. Like those guys weren't. Their practice habits were off the charts. The way they lifted in the weight room, like they just did not make mistakes. And so when people would ask that, I'd always laugh. Like, what do you want them to yell at them about? Like they don't screw up. So they were unbelievable. And I don't think I scored for like 1 month in practice once between Tikel and Ron guarding me. So I couldn't get a shot off.
There was a game in that undefeated season. I say we, like I was on the team, but
You were there in spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
We're like 17-0, we're 18-0, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And we went to Missouri State.
Yes.
And we got way behind.
Yeah.
And then came all the way back. What was that like?
Yeah, kind of a moment of like, dang, like, well, we had a really great undefeated run. Like, season's still going to go on, but very kind of stressful feeling of, are we going to blow this to a team that we thought we were quite a bit better than? And you mentioned earlier, like when you go play these teams, when you're who you were at the time, like you get everybody's best shot.
It's a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you get that typical cliche, like you really did. Everybody prepared a little more for you. You know, and that's human nature. Anytime you're going to play somebody who's elite at something, you're going to, you know, really fine tune everything. And so, you know, great crowd. We're on the road, and anything can happen on the road in conference play. It's tough. Everybody knows you. So dug a big hole. And then the moment that sticks out, it was like towards the end of the game, Fred had, I think maybe we got an offensive rebound tip out, and we're down, I think 3. And he drives it off the offensive rebound and takes off, and somebody steps over for a charge. It's one of those pretty close 50-50. He could go either way. And remember, as he's falling over the guy's shoulder, he just kind of flipped it, and he fell so hard that I was solely watching him because I thought he got hurt. He fell really hard. And I'm like, oh. And like watching it back, it's hilarious. I watched the clip. The ball goes in. Everybody on the bench goes absolutely nuts but me. I'm like, is Fred okay? And then I'm like, oh, my God, he made it. And then knocks down the free throw, just – big nuts. Like he had done that big nut celebration like later in his career and stuff, but that was just always him. Like big nut plays, like that dude made them. And then get the win in overtime. And that was one of those, I think, kind of momentum changing moments of a season where you start to believe this thing could be magical and you could truly, you know, go undefeated through the regular season. And CJ LaField would say it. He'd be like, bro, I'm telling y'all, we're going undefeated, bro. And we're all like, all right, CJ, like that's crazy. Like nobody does it. Nobody's done that since like UNLV or whatever it was. But those dudes believed, man, and it took on kind of a thing of its own, and it was never too big for us. It was just extra motivation.
I'll die on the hill that that's one of the best college basketball teams of all time.
Yeah, just a brutal draw in the tournament, and it's super gratifying when you hear other programs or other teams that played us that year like say that, like the Kentucky guys and Coach Cal have said like, that's one of the best college basketball games ever played, and it's just an absolute shame it had to happen in the second round of the tournament. They, get just absolutely horribly underseeded. We get a 1, and we're the unlucky draw. I think if we don't play them, every game is tough in the NCAA tournament. Like I said, you got to have a little bit of luck, but I think, we probably get to an Elite Eight Final Four again if, we don't have that draw, because that team goes to the national championship and has, a bunch of former draft picks.
You were on both sides of that coin, because Gonzaga could say the same exact thing.
100%, yeah.
That team was great.
Point.
They were. That team was awesome. Kevin Pangos was such a dynamic guard. And, Kelly Olynyk, and they had another big, I'm blanking on his name. If you pull up the roster from that 2012-13 Gonzaga team, Elias Harris. Don't even need it. There it is. Look at that. Nice. Elias Harris. Just studs, like both of them inside. And there were certain teams, like when you went on the floor and you saw them in person, it kind of was a wow moment, like these guys are legit big boys. These are NBA bodies. And so that was definitely one of those. But yeah, same argument from that Gonzaga team. They could very easily have ended up in a Final Four. Yeah.
The only thing I think about with that Wichita State Kentucky game that makes me feel kind of good is WSU did not choke. They played that.
Yes.
You played really well. You just got beat in the end, but it's and
that's what
it's not like you came out and shot yourself in the foot. The team played good. Kentucky just beat you that night.
Played a great game of basketball.
Yeah.
It sucks for when you see the casual just chirper on social media, see, told you they weren't a 1 seed.
Screw them.
No,
screw them.
Just played an all-time great program who also had an awesome game. Go look at the numbers from that game,
right.
The stats. It wasn't we choked and this is the big bad Kentucky. We peed down our leg. Had a hell of a game.
That was not the case at all.
Yeah, they also had a great game, and Julius Randle was a freak, and future, I don't even remember what pick he was overall, but he's a lottery pick and still in the NBA to this day. So. That one stung, I think, just because we'd had such a magical year, and you thought this team had everything that you needed to get to another Final Four, and for it to end that way for Klee and Nick Wiggins and CJ, and to see their emotions after, it was just super hard as a teammate and somebody who cares about them. So just unfortunate, but I can remember being in the moment and thinking this game is unbelievable, and then you turn on ESPN and Stephen A. Smith is talking about, this is one of the best college basketball games I've ever watched, one of the best games of the tournament ever, and it's such a sham that it had to happen in the second round.
It really was. I'll never forget Clay Anthony's dunk on Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah, so tough. I won't either.
That was a monster
I just
dunk.
wish it had happened in front of our bench. So
and an
opposite
awesome
end.
outlet by Van Fleet, if I remember right.
Yeah, Fred had a dime, got it, 2 dribbles, bounce pass. Klee takes off perfect in stride. And Klee was a mainly one-footed dunker, so he catches it on the right side for him, takes off. Those moments where the basketball world's watching you and those plays are being made is for a kid from Wichita that just got to be a part of it was so exciting.
Yeah.
Those 2 Clay Anthony early years, man, were special. He was such a unique scorer.
Yeah, dog. Dude had game.
God, he was so good.
Yep.
Seeing him just with and all those other guys we've mentioned running through the valley. Yeah. It's what do any of these teams do about Clay Anthony
exactly.
early?
The type of guys that they had in that position. One of my best friends, he's from Topeka, Marcus Filiak, played AAU together. He goes 2 years JUCO, maybe 1 year JUCO. 1 year JUCO at Cloud County, and then signs with Southern Illinois. So he's on that team, and he had watched us the year before, and we'd always had this trash talk man, they're not going to do that to us. And I'm like, all right, we're about to see. And Klee was that guy that loved going into, all of our guys did, but he loved going into an opposing arena and just having that frothing at the mouth, want to cut your head off and want to lift it up and show the whole crowd. And so he'd just have these dunks where he'd just scream and blood in his eyes and turn, and everybody's like, damn. Yeah, that's a bad boy.
He was a treat to watch at WSU, man. Yeah. That was the toughest sports loss of my life to date. Was that one.
Yeah, that one was hard to stomach, and probably the hardest for us, I think, to get over too, of just my whole 5 years there. That one, outside of the last game for Fred and Ron, that one was really tough.
Think of all the wins you guys had, though.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, just what a run.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. You come back after that undefeated season. You have another great season.
Yeah.
College game day comes to town.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith comes to town.
Stephen A., Jay Billis, the whole squad. That was wild.
How was that day?
That was so cool. That was one of the ones you always remember. some of those games, like on game day when you wake up, it almost had a Christmas morning feel to it. JR and I lived together, and so just fun, like riding to the games. We'd always, just take one car, like he'd drive or I'd drive, and we'd be listening to music. And, we're getting ready to sit the bench for 40 minutes, assuming we don't blow somebody out and we get in. But like we're fired up, like we're listening to Lil Wayne, something, and just getting hype. But that morning, we had college game day, and then I want to say we had maybe like a noon tip game. It was early.
Yep.
I don't think we even had shoot around that morning because
that was Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're ranked. We're ranked. They had beat us, I think, at their place maybe earlier in conference play.
God, they had some good teams.
Yeah,
Seth
Tuttle. Seth
Yeah.
was a dog.
Yes, he was. Wes Washburn was good too.
Wes Washburn was a freak. Yeah, well coached. Ben Jacobson always had tough teams.
He always had a cook.
He's still there.
Yeah, one of the Cook brothers.
Always.
I think
Yeah, he
Jacobson
is.
still is. Yeah.
They came last year.
That's right.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, awesome. It was snowing, like blizzarding.
Yep.
And so I had to leave super early to get there on time. My little brother and my parents went to see the college game day stuff because just when you get to experience that again. And I went out. I'd never go out early to the court. I didn't have a reason to. We'd be back in the locker room doing whatever we're doing. And I remember though peeking out there to go see it and seeing that whole side of the arena filled up. 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever it was before game time. Was just wild, and seeing those people walk through, like Stephen A's walking by, and Jay Billis, and Reese Davis, these are the guys you grow up watching on ESPN, and just kind of got chills. This is crazy. Who gets to experience this?
For sure.
And that was my whole college career, man. I felt like I got to ride the coattails of just some of the best dudes, and through no doing of my own, just truly the grace of God giving me an opportunity to be at Wichita State, and just the experiences I got to have. Looking back, it's so much fun talking about them because not many people get to experience that. So.
And the way that game ended, there's been
Cotton
so
windmill.
many great moments in Koch Arena, but that windmill, another excellent outlet pass by Van Fleet.
Yeah.
That
You
windmill,
remember these.
He does. He's got them locked in.
blew
he
the
does.
roof
Yeah,
off.
people ask all the time, what's the loudest? You remember? I always say that's one of probably the loudest.
That was right in front of us, so we sit directly behind the goal.
Yep.
Opposite
Oh,
students.
so you had just perfect
Yeah.
view.
That's probably the
eye
loudest I've
level.
ever yelled.
Yeah.
Eye level.
That was unreal. Like you said, Fred's pass, one dribble, and you don't know if they're going to foul or not. And it's that point of the game where you're not just dribbling the clock out yet. I think right around a minute and a half. And so, you got to go score. And it was they kind of stopped. Fred kind of waits. Is somebody going to come get me? And one dribble, throws it. Whoever was chasing Tikel kind of stopped. And, our bench just went absolutely nuclear on that. That was Tikel being Tikel, man.
How crazy is that? If I remember correctly, those were two top 10. Wasn't Northern Iowa was 9?
It was right. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, here it goes.
Yeah, here's the play.
What is that? They're 10 or they're
They're 10, we're 11.
10 and 11.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
a monster
full
windmill.
extension windmill too.
Just blew the roof off.
Look at that crowd, unbelievable.
Marshall leaves his feet, I'm pretty sure, on that.
It's I'm in street clothes. You can see me. I'm in sweats and a black top. I had broken my ankle right around Christmas time of that season, so I missed the remainder. And I think I popped my stitches open on that.
Looks like Connor sitting next to you.
Yeah,
That's when
Connor's
transfers
sitting
had
there.
to sit a year.
Yep.
wow.
Yeah, I think I definitely popped the stitches on my foot though.
Yeah, Marshall jumped. You
Yeah,
can see it
Marshall
there.
leaves his feet. He's like, holy
I got hit
shit.
one time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was so fun.
Oh, man, I'll
Finally-
never forget that.
Yeah,
That's
moment
what- is
you
that
couldn't
Wessel?
XL.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan right behind him. What a squad, dude.
Yep.
Can never get sick of that.
Yeah,
that
you
one
guys
and
had
then
a special group,
the
man.
clip he had
11 and 10.
yeah, where Tikel went baseline on Illinois State and punched one.
That was his first big dunk, if I remember right.
That was the undefeated season.
He had an alley-oop over the backboard on an inbounds play that was nasty.
Yeah, Illinois State, that same goal where he had that one,
Yep.
that same season. Yeah, he.
That's where on Cox 22 when he dunked that against Illinois
Yeah.
State. I remember watching that on Cox 22. Bruce Hurdle and Shane Dennis were freaking out.
Bruce, man, what a guy. But yeah, that season was awesome. Get to a Sweet 16, beat.
You go to Omaha.
Yeah, go to Omaha.
First round, beat 2 Blue Bloods,
Yep.
Indiana,
Yep.
and then you face Kansas.
Yep.
What was the build up for the KU game like?
It started with Selection Sunday. Like when you saw it come on, everybody, we thought once again probably got underseeded a little bit, and then you immediately see, like, not to overlook Indiana, because Indiana's, we know what they are, but you see the KU matchup and you kind of had a feeling like, oh, really? Like, this is what the selection committee's doing? Like, 1 year after we get kind of screwed and have to feel like we had to play Kentucky around early.
They kind of screwed KU with that, though.
Absolutely. Like, it always goes both ways with those games.
It does.
And so, I'm sure they weren't looking at it and just, absolutely pumped. Like, I'm sure they were confident and thought they were going to beat us, but they also, being, the program that they are, they don't take teams lightly. They knew we were a good program, but absolutely extra motivation. So Yogi Ferrell and the Indiana team were really good. Had a tough game with them, took care of it, and then it was like the one everybody wanted. And, for the last couple of years, that was the whole talk, was that, well, you guys are good, but you're not KU good. And we just got so sick of hearing that, man. And that's not KU's fault. Like, it's not those players that were saying that. It's just fans, and fans are fans. But we got so tired of the whole mantra that, well, you're good, but you play in the Valley. And so NCAA tournament time was always, like, when I go back to that Pitt game, we always had that sense of urgency and motivation of, like, I'm so effing sick of hearing about that we play in the Valley and we're a mid-major. And so when we got those moments, it was like everybody's eyes, sharpened, and had a great scout. Steve Forbes had the scout for that game, who Coach Forbes is now the head coach of Wake Forest.
Yep.
And we were just dialed. We felt like when we watched film, we were going to have some opportunities to exploit a few things. We thought we were a little tougher, thought we were sharper defensively, and great game plan. And then Evan Wessel had a huge game. It always comes down to making shots, and Evan made them.
It's pretty ironic that Evan Wessel has a huge game against Perry.
Yeah, absolutely. Former high school teammate, and just being an in-state kid, and he played lights out, and he had actually had a really tough year that year. Had, kind of a slump shooting the basketball, and, that's super hard on a player when, maybe even if people don't talk about it, like, you're not making shots, and defenses start guarding you a little differently. And, KU did the smart thing probably. They played the percentages, but Evan's another one of those guys that's a gamer, man, and kind of became a WSU legend for that performance.
He did so much more without the ball in his hands, too.
One of those guys. That's
so
why
much.
He's out there. Like,
him and Rashard Kelly were kind of similar in that aspect.
Cut from that same cloth.
Yes.
They don't make mistakes. They do all the little things. You can count on them. They're not going to miss a box out. They're not going to blow something defensively. And then they also, such a, component of, like, their humility is that they knew their game. They didn't try to do too much. Like, Evan was a Wichita legend. Like, he could have come out and tried to do all this stuff with the ball in his hands, but he knew, like, that's not really my role, and it's not the strength for me with this team. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad player, but a lot of guys can't have that humility. Like, it hurts them to essentially have to take a role where they have to do the dirty work and, don't do as much with the ball in their hand. But Evan bought into his role and, just perfected it. So,
did you play Evan, Connor, and Perry in high school?
Played Perry and I are the same high school class, so would play against him at, like, Biddy and stuff, all grown up, and, summer stuff. And then Connor and I played together since, like, second grade on the same Biddy team.
Oh, wow.
And then Evan was a year older, so I'd never played Evan. I played him maybe once in, like, summer, like, MAYB Nationals thing, I think, but hadn't obviously played Perry since, probably, I don't think we ever played him in AAU. Like, Perry's AAU teams were so good.
Did Eisenhower ever play Wichita City League teams?
There was never a whole lot of crossover back then. That was before the ABCTL City League Challenge. So we were just typically ABCTL playing, Mays and Dewbey and all those guys. So never got a chance to play them. But those guys had some wicked teams.
Dude, I remember I was at Carroll the same time Connor was at North, and we would just pack the student section. We'd be saying all kinds of just nasty shit to Connor, and he would be hitting every shot, just looking back at us, gooning us, and it was like, God damn, this
Connor's
dude
another
is
one of
too
those guys,
good.
like, loves that stuff. Loves the moment.
And,
just being a Wichita guy, it's always so funny hearing those stories.
Oh God.
It was insane how good Connor was growing up.
Yeah.
He committed to KU, if I remember right, committed as a sophomore.
Yeah.
A guy his size, how tall is he?
6'1", maybe on a good day.
Yeah. A guy his size committing to KU as a sophomore. That's how good he was.
Yeah, I can remember always.
Amazing.
Like, he was another one that you knew he was kind of a prodigy. Him and Perry, anybody that played at Biddy around those times, that's around our age, like, we knew, like, Connor was the truth. Perry is Perry, and our class had really good players, man. That 2012 high school class was awesome, and I can remember telling my high school coach, before Connor got to high school that like this dude's legit. And my high school coach Steve Blue played for Steve Eck at South High back on their 90s teams that were like state champs. And so Coach Blue's very protective of the city league and how great it is. And I'm like, you watch, like he's gonna tear it up as a freshman. Like no freshman's going in and tearing up city league. And Connor just starts being Connor and quickly put everybody on notice. So yeah, those are so fun to watch. And there's the classic game where he outscores Heights by himself and. Just what a legacy he had in the City League.
City League, if you're a nerd, City League is really awesome. Like
so
historically,
Yes.
the Wichita City League is just a special league.
Yes.
So good. It's funny how it's changed too. Like I feel it's shifted. Like a lot of kids that would have normally grown up and gone to City League schools, like parents are moving them to ABCTL schools. So
Like Dewbey.
Yeah, Dewbey and
Yeah.
the Mazes and the Andovers. But yeah, when you go back and look at the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and 90s, 80s, yeah, just like
Even
the
when
Carr
we were
brothers.
there.
When we were all in high school, it was just ridiculous. And Terrence Moore over at Heights was so good. Jalen Love at East, and that's why I have a ton of pride in my 2012 class. I felt like we were one of the last really deep basketball classes. Just had a lot of really good players. Craig Nicholson. But yeah, just fun basketball back then.
East High was good. I graduated in 16.
Okay.
East High was really good. Samaje.
Yeah, absolutely. Samaje,
Xavier
Zach
Kelly.
Jackson, Xavier. You have 3 Division I athletes
Yeah.
right there. Xavier's a Power 5 football player. Yeah, freaky teams.
Yeah, the glory days of the City League were really good.
Yep.
Really high level.
And they lasted.
Yeah.
It was a long, long run. And maybe it'll come back. Who knows? But, that's a lot of stacked years of
Great coaches, too. Ronnie
Yeah.
Allen and Coach Auer. And, you go on and on and on. Coach Eck. And, so many great coaches that came through there.
For sure. And then you wrap up your senior season. If I remember right, first 4 beat Vanderbilt.
That was so I redshirted, so that was my redshirt junior year. So I had one more year after that. But yes, so that year was Fred and Ron's.
Right.
Ended up being their senior year because Fred had redshirted. Ron redshirted. Fred and I came in the same class, and then I redshirted. But yeah, play Vanderbilt first 4. Feel like once again, like here we go, got screwed. Like that year we had a slow start. Fred had pulled his hamstring, missed some games, dealt with some injuries. Kind of had a new group of big men that came in and. Didn't have Tikel anymore, didn't have Darius, and so kind of a new group a little bit. You have the freshman group of like Richard and Zach Brown. So tough season. I mean, we say tough season. If you look at like our record, like
spoiled.
tons of teams.
An auto bid coming out of the valley is never easy.
Yeah, tons of teams would have killed to have that year. But for us, not quite what expectations had been. And, get into the NCAA tournament, like, all right, as long as we're in, watch film, once again, think, like, Vanderbilt's talented. Like, Wade Baldwin right now is playing over in EuroLeague. Like, he's a dude. He's elite. Luke Cornett, he played, this year for, I think, the Celtics and kind of carved out an NBA career. But they had guys. But once again, we had who we had, and Fred made plays, win that game. Literally had to, that night after we win, jump on a flight to fly to Providence, Rhode Island. So you're in Dayton, Ohio. It's like 11 p.m. We'd played like the late game. Got to fly all through the night. We didn't get to Providence. It was something crazy, like walk in your hotel room at like 5 a.m. And they're like, just sleep, like get up around noon if you can, and we'll talk about what the plan is because everybody's just a zombie at that point. So yeah, then get a day, I think 1 day of prep, and we had an early game again against Arizona. So you had the late game and then the early, which I remember Coach not being real happy about. Play Arizona again, feel like it's a great matchup. Like they're the pretty boys, no disrespect at all to them because they were phenomenal and super talented, but that was how we looked at things. Like we're the dogs, we do the dirty work, we play really hard the right way, and you guys skip steps because you're talented, and that's how we're gonna beat you. And
Y'all had them in a straight jacket.
Yeah,
They
had
could
Sean
not
Miller
do
sweating.
Yeah, there was I was gonna say there was nothing pretty about Sean Miller's shirt.
I don't know if they
He
broke
was soaked
60.
in sweat.
Yeah, it ended up, I looked at it the other day because we played Gabe York in TBT. Gabe York was on that team.
Yep.
And so I looked at it. It ended up being a little bit closer than I remember it being. But for a while, it felt like it was like the first half. Like we were dogging these dudes.
Yep.
And everything was clicking, playing the right way, sharing it. Dudes are defending. And they had a squad like Alonzo Trier and Caleb Tarzewski. Caleb Tarzewski's nickname was Zeus because he's that big. But yeah, hell of a game plan, and guys made plays and win that. And now you're eyeing like, oh my God, we can get to another Sweet 16. And ran into a Miami team that was probably better than we even thought they were. That was one of the few games in the NCAA tournament where we got out there and kind of got smacked in the mouth. We got down big, and probably fatigue is part of that. But they were super talented. Had Angel Rodriguez, who had been at K-State. Cool story, Fred and him are at the free throw line. Like, there's a free throw being shot. They're, like, at the three-point line, and they're, like, bent over. And Fred said Angel, before the game, Angel had made comments of, like, I'm a big fan of, like, Fred's game. Like, he's a really good player. You know, kind of looked up watching him all these years. We're similar size, similar style of play. And, you know, probably trying to butter Fred up before the game. I'm playing, but they're like in the middle of busting our ass, like down 20. And Fred had told us this later that Fred's been over at the 3-point line, like tired, and they're shooting free throws. And Angel comes up, and like he'd been cooking, and he bends over, and low key kind of killing Fred, and he's like, "Hey Fred, I'm still a fan." This little Hispanic accent. Fred's like, "Bro, shut up! Like, get out of my ear right now." Like, he was genuine. Like, I think he was just telling him, like, "Hey, like I meant that when I said I'm a fan." But battled back, man. Watching the game back, it's so tough to watch because we got back in it and had a chance to be in a position to win the game.
They hit a huge three on the wing, and that game was there for the taking at that point. Then they hit that three, and it's like,
we truly clawed back.
Yeah.
I remember Angel Rodriguez hitting a tough floater too that kind of put us away.
Yeah, hit a tough floater. He had like a step back where it was almost like a James Harden double step back, jumper, and they were crazy athletic. There was a couple plays like they had a long oop from like half court, like Angel just laid one up, and some of those plays where you kind of were like, damn, like these guys are really, you know, going to be tough to beat tonight. But had to put ourselves in a position to win, but just one of those games where we couldn't get over the hump, and they were better. They just were. They had the right pieces and were a little bit more athletic, and that was really hard to stomach because it was how Fred and Ron had to go out, and you felt like they deserved so much for all the wins they were part of, and the position they put the program in. Like, those are, you know, essentially your core guys that made this run what it was of, you know, 2012-13 to 2016. Like, without them, who knows? So that was really tough. That was sad. And even going back before that, you didn't know if they were coming back for their senior year. Fans probably don't remember, but there was talk they may enter the draft, and they both took a little bit of time, and we're looking at, are we going to go pro or are we not? And so the fact that they came back, it just sucked that it ended like that.
Well, they're going to hang in the rafters up there next to Xavier McDaniel, Dave Stallworth, all those guys. So it's amazing what they did. Kind of got hosed on that scheduling too. Yeah. Remember, we were late in the Arizona game, and then first game the next 2 days against Miami.
Yeah, late, early, back and forth.
Think of how many stories like that, though, people say.
Yeah, true.
You know,
100%.
63 different teams are saying that.
True. And we always prided like not being that way because we knew how it felt when we beat teams. There was always some caveat.
Right.
Of why, and so
whenever I get bent out of shape about the Kentucky thing, when I think, like, God damn it, that was such a great team, I always then think, well, we just did that to Gonzaga the year before, so that stuff's happening all the time to anybody who is anybody.
Every year. And I think that's the mark of a good fan who can have the humility and to be, you know, unbiased and, like, remove yourself. Like, we, you know, even now, like, I try not to be a homer, whether it's with the Chiefs or whether it's, you know, with WSU basketball, and truly look at things from an objective standpoint and give a fair analysis, because it just gets so old with some of the big programs that, you know, won't do that. Like Kentucky fans, for example, it seems like they've just always got some reason why something didn't go their way, and if it does, it's because we're just the greatest ever. And so always try to, you know.
Well, one of the worst ones I've seen, actually one of the worst ones was that KU team, that 1 seed that had Northern Iowa as the 9.
Oh, yeah.
That Northern Iowa team had no business playing a 1 seed in the second game of the
historic
NCAA
Valley being, you know, underseeded.
And that KU team was great.
Yeah,
they really
good.
And they ran into a team that was just not a 9 seed.
That was a run of just really damn good KU teams with all
it was.
wins and
Self is one of one.
Yeah, he is.
In my opinion.
It truly is.
I wanted to switch over to new job over at Mays. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're probably revving up for the season now.
Yeah, we shout out to Keisha. We can't do anything. Can't touch a basketball here till November.
So, no kidding?
Yeah, so we're not really doing a whole lot right now, which is weird for me. We moved back, my wife and I, from Omaha here in June, and I was at Bellevue West High School, which was like premier program in the state up there. And wow, like I didn't understand how good high school athletics were in Nebraska until I got up there. Like, they're a step ahead of the state of Kansas right now. I got lucky. I got right place, right time.
Why do you think that is?
Part of it is the rules. Nebraska Athletics Association is a little bit more progressive in their view on stuff. So an example, like I just said, so for basketball here in Kansas, we cannot do anything basketball specific with our kids until the start of practice. So in some ways it's nice. It gives them a break. If they want to be a multi-sport guy, that's awesome. But what about your kid who doesn't play football, who's itching to get in the gym right now, and he really can't because we have to be there like with them to monitor, but we can't be in the gym while they play pickup. I can't put them through workouts, anything like that. So I'd have to go, essentially maybe sit in my office while they play, or have a adult or faculty member sit there while they play that's not a coach. And so they're not getting any work, whereas Nebraska, those guys can do individual group of 4 workouts right now. So I'd be 2 days a week. I had a responsibility to put 2 different groups through a morning individual before school at 6 a.m. And then after school, like I talked to one of my players that I coached yesterday, they're already lifting every day after school, and there's less restrictions on how much you can work with your kids up there. A little more progressive, a little more with the times, and so you add up that amount of time that they have a basketball in their hand over the course of 4 high school years. Like that's a lot. And our kids, some of them, you guys remember how it was. It's not always the easiest thing to find a gym, especially if you don't have a YMCA membership. And even if you do, every court, there's, grown men playing pickup. Like right. It's not like you have the goal to yourself and can go put yourself through a 40-minute workout or get on a shooting gun. Whereas up there, like our kids were coming in at night and had access to get in the gym. And it just wasn't a big deal. Whereas here, it's a lot more restrictive. So that's tough. But, really excited to be back. Couldn't have got off track there, but couldn't have walked into a better job. So excited. They've been so great to me, and Coach Grill was awesome with the transition. He's a legend. I feel like I'm got really big shoes to fill. He did such a great job there for so long. But great school, great athletics, just solid program all around. So to be able to have my first head coaching job at a 6A school, I don't think there's many 31-year-olds that walk into a situation like that. So I'm incredibly blessed and thankful.
Yeah, I was going to ask what class y'all were in. I didn't realize you were 6A.
We're 6, yeah. It's they had just bounced back up a couple years ago, and it's tough. Like they say, it may be a little bit easier road to get to state now, just because of which side you're on in 6A versus 5A. I think 5A we might have been like 5A East, but 6A we're I think 6A West, and so a little bit maybe better path to get to the state tournament, but really hard to win at state now because you have all the Kansas City schools. Whereas in 5A, a little bit tougher path maybe to get to the state tournament. When you get there, you feel like you can win it all. But
who do you guys play? You're not playing Carroll or Northwest or East. You're not playing,
as far as like in sub-state and all that?
Playing East. Regular season.
Regular season, we're ABCTL 1, so our league is Dewbey, Campus,
Eisenhower.
I think Eisenhower is Division 2. Valley Center's in it. Have to go look. I'd coached at Andover previously, so I have all the Division 2 teams in my head, but we're ABCTL 1, so we're the bigger ones. May South's obviously in it, so really Derby's been really good and just had really good teams, so it'll be really tough.
I'm sure it'll be interesting for you when the season does start, the differences between coaching the Aftershocks versus coaching high school kids.
Yeah, even coaching high school kids in the summer and then going over and coaching the pro guys, it's definitely different, just in terms of like the game is so different at those 2 levels because of how you have to guard things. Like the gravity on the floor of guys, at that pro level, like Marcus Keene can shoot the ball from quite literally a step over half court. So where you have to pick him up, how you have to guard off ball. Like in high school, most teams can just go under things because nobody can stop and shoot and make you pay typically. So changes what you can run, expectations of what players you think they should be able to do and see. So you got to really go back to teaching foundational skills of the game and being really good at little things like consistently boxing out, and defensively, here's how you rotate, and being able to guard the ball one-on-one, and offensively, how to not turn the ball over and have good possessions, and thank God have a shot clock now. Love that.
Big.
Yeah, teaching guys, and I'm a guy who I like to play fast, so I don't think it, affects us. And in Omaha, we had shot clock, and we played really fast. I can remember maybe in 2 years there seeing like 3 shot clock violations, so it's awesome. I'm excited about that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. You got anything, Tua?
I don't.
Zach, you got anything for us?
No, I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me. It's fun going down memory lane, and hope the Shocker fans that listen enjoy it. It was such good times, and looking forward to the program, getting back on that trajectory.
I'm hopeful that this Aftershocks run, we're going to look back on this and think this revived
Yeah.
the connection between the city and the program. So
Yeah.
thank you for an awesome run in the TBT.
Yeah.
It was a blast to watch.
Thank you
And
guys for
I hope you
supporting.
guys defend.
Yeah, I hope so too. The guys are up in the air on if they want to or not. But Marcus Keenan sent a message the other day in the group chat of like, hey, man, the more I'm thinking about it, I think we need to come back and do it, man. We really only had one close game. Like, man, we didn't even shoot it that well. Like, how much fun that was. We might need to do it again. And some of the guys are like sending emojis of like eyes, like looking out of the corner. And so we'll see. I truly have no idea what they will want to do. It's up to them. But if the fan support's going to be there, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't. And then for anybody listening, there could be some very big changes coming to TBT that I'm not at liberty to discuss. But
Oh, really?
it could look very different in terms of number of teams and structure. So
It's getting eyeballs.
yep, it could be a fun change. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on all the success.
Thank
and
you.
Good
Appreciate
luck
you
for the
guys.
rest of your career, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with the season here.
Yeah.
Sir, let's go. Go Eagles. Come out to a game.
Yeah,
Thank you, Zach.
we will. Thanks.